Bitcoin has finally seen a nice development right here on the short-term chart. So I want to break down for you exactly what I'm seeing because unfortunately I think a lot of people are going to be led into a little bit of a trap and I need to let you guys know what this is. But first, let's zoom out a little bit because what I want to do is, as usual, as I've been doing in every single one of these videos lately, is I want to really very clearly acknowledge to you guys that right now Bitcoin is still in a good place on the long-term chart in my opinion. We're seeing a nice correction after a very aggressive run-up, and actually what I'm really liking about this chart right now is that Bitcoin is potentially in a little bit of a falling wedge pattern, which is usually a bullish pattern on these markets, can sometimes be bearish, and I think Bitcoin might be using it using this to its advantage. But if you've been paying attention to this YouTube channel recently, then you're also going to know that Bitcoin has been forming a potentially massively disastrous pattern on this chart right here, which looks something a little bit like this. This is how Bitcoin formed it previously, where we were rising up very, very quickly. Then we slowed down. Our gradient of attack became a lot less steep. You can see the market was rising a lot slower. We ended up falling down, back testing old support. Bam, support right here, support right here. We back tested it to find resistance and we dropped by about half. So I'm looking at Bitcoin potentially doing this again right now, and I want to break down these signs for you as well. Bitcoin potentially getting ready to pump back up over here, but I am starting to see something very, very nice now, and I need to show you this. So if we zoom in onto a smaller time frame chart and we take a closer look at what's been going on, Bitcoin was at first forming something that I mentioned to you on a very short-term charts, which could potentially be a little bit of a rising wedge. And I don't know if I said this on YouTube or just in one of my private channels. I can't actually remember, but I'm pretty sure I said this on YouTube as well. And really the reason that I'm pointing this out to you right now is that Bitcoin had a really, really nice setup to potentially hit the low, bottom out here again and consolidate and then drop down. And if we didn't just consolidate sideways, it could be that we form another bearish continuation pattern, which would be the classic staircase step. This would be the step right here, and then we end up trading lower again. We didn't do that because actually Bitcoin was trading in this rising wedge, but then we started to pump up above it, and while we pumped up above it, we also pumped up above something else which was bearish that I was outlining for you guys, which was a potential descending triangle pattern in this market, which would have looked something a little bit like this, basically showing us right here that Bitcoin was potentially going to be trading inside of a quite bearish continuation pattern, but we have actually managed to get a nice breakout above. Now it's not a huge breakout, but the pattern itself isn't very large. We've managed to rise by about 1% above this breakout level, which is okay in my opinion. And the reason that I think this is potentially something to take note of is the fact that we've already broken out of another bearish pattern. On the 1 hour time frame, for example, we're actually completely above resistance right now, which is really nice. And on the 4 hour time frame, when we look at momentum, we're not doing too bad either. I think, yeah, we've just broken the resistance on the 4 hour time frame. So you're really starting to see that just with today's events, a lot of this stuff has shifted, but the key signs of resistance that we still have on the short and midterm time frames are there. And this is the trap. This is where I think a lot of people are going to start to become very misled, because this is the first really serious bit of price action that we've seen, upward price action that we've seen. Well, I mean, only for a few days, but it was quite a few days ago, right? The last time that we saw a real rally on this in this market was probably the 19th of November, and we're seeing it again now on the 25th. So this is about 6 days later, a whole week later, and inside of that week we were trading down and sideways. So a very frustrating range. So it's a nice fresh breath, breeze of air even. But what is still problematic with this trend right now, and I'm going to talk more about why this could be pretty disastrous for Bitcoin just later on in this video, so make sure you stick around. And by the way, if you're enjoying these videos so far and you find these videos to be useful, you find them to calm you down and really give you a better perspective on these markets, do me a favor and smash up the likes right now for the YouTube algorithm. It's going to help you see more of these videos, and of course it's going to help me grow this YouTube channel. Of course, if you're not already subscribed, do that, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. But the other key thing that I need to draw your attention to right now is that the pre-existing resistance area that I've been outlining to you guys a lot on this YouTube channel is only getting bigger. This is a big area of resistance, and the thing I need to remind you guys about now, which I reminded you guys about last time right here, is that people become the most bullish as we approach resistance levels, but this is precisely where it pays to be the most bearish. This is very, very important, right? A lot of people are going to really be forgetting key principles that they should have kept in mind as we approach resistance levels right here. Everybody was becoming a lot more hopeful in this market that Bitcoin is going to be able to break the $60,000 level, and I was one of the only people keeping a very calm and stable head, telling you guys that this is resistance, and resistance is where the market drops. So really, I don't care how strong this rally is right now. The fact is, Bitcoin has been in a sustained downtrend now for quite a long time, right? We're talking about 15 days since Bitcoin's been in this downtrend, coming off an all-time high as well, really just not performing very strongly in my opinion. and right now trading up into a potential resistance area. There's a few key things that I outlined that Bitcoin could be doing, and one of the main ones I think Bitcoin could be in right now is potentially a little bit of a sideways trading range, which would look something a little bit like this. Bitcoin potentially just entering a little bit of a bear flag, and you can start to see that resistance is really dropping into this range now, showing us that, I mean, basically if Bitcoin just kind of ends up trading here for the next, what is this, just couple of hours really, for the next day, if Bitcoin's here in 24 hours, it's going to encounter some pretty nasty resistance. And if Bitcoin manages to somehow peak just a little bit higher into that $60,000 level, there's still going to be a lot of resistance to meet Bitcoin. And it's not just on this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, we're also seeing it on the daily EMA ribbon right here. We're only now just entering resistance, right? So I really want you guys to keep that in mind, especially if we start seeing a real shift in the fear and greed index. Now obviously this hasn't updated yet because we're only looking at yesterday's data, and yesterday people were very fearful right here, not extremely fearful, but definitely leaning towards the more extreme end of being fearful, right? At first look at this, we had a fear and greed index rating of 34, then the next low was 33, and now 32. Today we're getting a little bit of a bounce up, so we're going to know what the updated data is in 7 hours, so it's a long time away. But if you're watching this in the United States and so on, you're going to know exactly what's going on. And I think that especially if we start to see people becoming a little bit more greedy, people feeling a little bit more neutral, just overall feeling at ease, that's where these things tend to become really disastrous for the market. And the reason for that, when and you guys already know the deal with this YouTube channel, I'm not only going to tell you what I'm seeing, but also why I'm seeing that from a psychological perspective, because these markets are all about psychology, right? If you're good at psychology, if you're good at reading people in a broader context, a lot of people at once, understanding, what is it, mass market psychology, herd mentality, stuff like that, you're going to have a big advantage. So I really want to break this down for you. The reason that these markets really break people down, and the reason that people just for some reason keep forgetting that resistance levels are where the market drops. And it's not like we don't know this, right? Almost every single one of you watching this video right now will know that resistance levels is where the market should drop, and support levels are where the market should bounce, right? It's the same thing I was outlining you guys about as well, telling you guys to expect bounces around over here and resistance around over here, but obviously saying I'm still leaning towards the downside, expecting it to break, because we're in a downtrend. So I'm always going to be leaning to the downside. It's just my default view of the market until we see a sustainable change in that, where we start flipping levels, but we're not there yet. And so I think a lot of the one of the key reasons that people just kind of forget that resistance levels are where the market should be topping out is that they start feeling more relief. And we saw that already just recently, right? As soon as, what the hell, that's my Apple Watch, as soon as Bitcoin starts to rise up a little bit, we really see people moving more towards that neutral territory where they feel a lot happier with the market, while they're starting to get a little bit of these rises up. And the other thing that I want you to keep in mind for why the market really can break down people's emotions and really just break people down, make them feel absolutely shit about themselves, is because you're getting the hope that Bitcoin might recover over here, and that hope is getting crushed. You're getting the hope again, and that hope is getting crushed. You're getting the hope again, and that hope is getting crushed. And gradually that's going to wear down on you, and you're going to start losing belief in the market until eventually, you get enough of these hope being crushed cycles in the market. Eventually you got a drop, and it's only a quick drop, but you already would have sold on this drop, and then the market rockets back up really quickly, essentially when the whales, when the big people, when the rich people who are more patient than you have been able to take your cheap Bitcoins, and then they run the market higher, so you sell down here and you buy back in over here. That's just how these markets tend to work from a more psychological perspective. And really guys, as soon as you know this stuff, you can start to stop being a victim of it, and you can start playing it to your advantage. Very, very important to understand how Bitcoin can form these sideways trading ranges that I've been talking about on this YouTube channel quite a bit lately. So I think that this is still very much in play. Resistance definitely tells me that Bitcoin should be encountering some trouble around this range right now. I mean, this has been a fairly quick move up, right? We haven't really had a retracement here. It's just been up candle after up candle on the 4-hour time frame right here. If we measure this, it's been, with only one exception, we've traded 8 candles higher. With only one exception, so we've had a 9 candle uptrend here, and it was a small exception. It's actually a bullish hammer, so a lot of bullish energy coming into this. But we're only encountering resistance right now, and this is pretty heavy resistance in my opinion, right? The last time that Bitcoin found some resistance over here, it was the same indicator but on the 1 hour time frame that gave Bitcoin some resistance. Look at this on the 1 hour Ichimoku cloud, right? 3 separate rejections inside of this cloud. And then we look at this on the 4 hour time frame. This is an even bigger area of resistance, not only in size but also in time frame. So it's far more important in my opinion, and that definitely is still spelling some trouble for Bitcoin. But it also means that the breakout point for Bitcoin will be if it manages to reach about $61,500, and that's where I think that Bitcoin's going to be pretty good. Now I don't think we're going to get there, but if we do, I am keeping an open mind, and I think that if Bitcoin can have a convincing breakout above... Oh, this chart is different on different charts, my bad. If we can get a convincing breakout above the 60k level, Bitcoin might be okay. But again, the issue with it is that even if it breaks resistance from this green box, it's still going to have some more resistance from the red Ichimoku cloud. And even if it breaks that, it's going to have resistance from this green box right here, which is precisely the problem that I was outlining for you guys on this YouTube channel all these videos ago. Again, I was talking about it all the way back here. So if you were subscribed on the YouTube channel back then, you're going to know exactly what I was talking about. If you were, do me a favor, drop a thumbs up on this video and just drop me a comment saying I was here. It would be very interesting to see how many of you guys were able to heed that warning that I was giving you guys, because obviously it made me very unpopular at the time, but you guys know that that's exactly what this channel is for. I'm not going to shy away from telling you what you need to hear just to get more clicks and likes and stuff like that. That's definitely not what the deal is here. So if you do appreciate that, do me that favor, support the channel however you can. If you want to, of course, you don't have to, but the key issue there being, yeah, we have a lot more resistance ahead, which can potentially be problematic for Bitcoin. But again, I want to zoom out now and just focus us on the longer term perspective as well. And actually, we don't need to zoom out for this, but just show you guys that actually right now, Bitcoin is potentially in a bullish pattern right here. I'm sure if we looked at the RSI, let's take a look at that real quick. Yeah, we are starting to see exactly the same thing I'm talking about printed by the RSI right now, where the RSI has kind of been trending upwards. Look at this right here, the RSI just generally moving upwards right here while the price is moving down, indicating that we have a divergence where the RSI is showing us that the market is gaining strength. RSI means the relative strength index. So if the strength is going up, if the RSI is going up, it means the market is gaining strength at a time where actually the market is dropping down. So this is a potential warning sign that we could be ready to reverse the trend and move back up. But of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to hit $70,000 or anything like that. It can just mean that we trade a little bit higher, we get a nice breakout, but then we get sent back down at resistance. Very, very possible. And actually, if we formed a pattern a little bit like this, where we start to approach this horizontal area of resistance and we top out right here, like I've just drawn on this chart, well, guess what? Again, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you're going to know what I've been talking about here, where Bitcoin is actually forming something very similar to a pattern that it formed just earlier this year, where again it was trading up very, very quickly, and then it started trading up very slowly. And you can see this because Bitcoin kept failing to set new all-time highs. And by the way, just want to point out really, because this channel has been 100% on point with the analysis that we've had on this market recently, I was also warning you guys about Bitcoin failing to set subsequently higher all-time highs in this market for quite a long time. And the last time that I gave you guys this warning was probably around over here, or maybe just a little bit afterwards, pointing out to you guys that Bitcoin has really been struggling to set brand new all-time highs which are actually meaningful, and I was telling you that that could be a reason that sends Bitcoin a little bit lower. So it was one of those early warning signs again, where, you know, while everyone's really celebrating and cracking open the champagne, popping the champagne even, and really becoming very, very happy and starting to celebrate, you've got the wolves, you've got people like you know, you guys, the viewers of the Fourth Slice YouTube channel, the team behind me as well, our amazing team behind the Fourth Slice VIP group and stuff like that. We're keeping a very sober outlook on the market so that we don't get sucked in by the bullshit and we can stay reasonable right here. But the key thing that I want to draw your attention to right now over here is that Bitcoin potentially in a slightly bullish pattern right here, because it's slowly trending downwards while gaining strength on the RSI, showing us that we're actually overall potentially getting ready for a reversal. But if we pump up, we would fulfill that RSI bullish divergence, right? We would get a pump up in the RSI divergence, even not the Irish divergence, the RSI divergence, and that would potentially take us up to resistance at about $63,000, $64,000 wherever, and that could be where Bitcoin potentially finds another top to send it much, much lower. And this would be disastrous for the market, guys. If that actually happened, that would be a big bearish event in my opinion, because essentially it would mean that Bitcoin is repeating what happened before, and I personally think that that's still quite likely. We're still forming a pattern which is very much conducive to Bitcoin repeating this disastrous bit of price action right here. Now obviously I hope it doesn't happen, because if it does, we could be looking at a much bigger drop coming in this market, and I don't want that, because I'd rather make some more money. But what I want is independent of what's actually going to happen. So I really want you guys to keep this in mind. Don't be surprised if something like this happens, and don't become too bullish too early as well. You know, you really need to make sure that you're retaining a healthy perspective on this, and you don't just get swept in the waves of excitement, because it's easy to do that. But obviously, if you feel like you're in agreement with everybody, and you feel like you're friendly with everybody, and you're each rubbing each other off the big price predictions, you're going to be among the 90% of people that lose money. And it's just a fact. If you feel like you're in the majority, if you feel like you're a very agreeable person, if you feel like you're not a contrarian, and actually you tend to get along with everybody and everyone's agreeing with what you say, you're probably wrong. And and it's just one of the honest, hard truths of these markets. So I really want you guys to keep that in mind, so that you don't get swept away by it and potentially end up in a little bit of trouble. I also want to take a quick look at the Lux Algo indicator. I have been talking about this quite a bit recently. I'm also going to make a video on this very soon, so watch out for this. A lot of you guys have been liking this indicator since I started talking about it. It's still printing bearish patterns for us, so we're not actually out of the bearish zone right now. On the 1 hour time frame, did it change? I want to see if it flipped. I don't think it did flip. Oh, it did flip right here. We got a buy. We had a strong sell signal here, but now we have a normal buy signal here, indicating a potential reversal. It's only the strong signals that we're looking for, because the strong ones are the ones that potentially indicate big moves in the trend. So the last time we had a strong signal was right here, which completely failed. This is why you shouldn't be relying on algorithms too much, but to supplement analysis, it can be very useful. The last strong sell signal was here, which wasn't really that good at all, in my opinion. It would have only netted you a small profit, but that's only because Bitcoin was trading in a small in a sideways channel, and more importantly, it's because the time frame was a little bit too small, right? If you look at this on the 4 hour time frame, you're getting much better signals right here. The last sell signal was all the way around over here at about $60,000, so you'd still be in a profit on that. And the last buy signal, this was really good, was down at about $46,000, so definitely a very nice one right there. And the daily time frame still bullish, by the way. Just want to keep this in your guys' mind. It's again just kind of confirming what I've been saying a lot on this YouTube channel, that these larger time frames are still very much in a good place, in my opinion, right? So I'm really liking what I'm seeing there with the Lux Algo indicator. Also, just want to make sure I'm not missing anything else with my analysis. I've covered the descending triangle for you guys and how Bitcoin has broken out of that, which is absolutely great. The other thing that I'd like to actually bring to your attention is the potential Fibonacci patterns that we could be seeing in this market right now. So I think pitch stamp is fine for this. I'm going to draw Fibonacci just coming off this low to the all-time high, and I want to show you guys where Bitcoin has managed to bottom out. On the 4 hour time frame, we can see quite nicely over here that we did manage to find some support at the 0.5 Fibonacci level. We've just now climbed above the 382 Fibonacci level, and this is showing us that the next Fibonacci resistance is going to be around 62.3. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a strong area of resistance for Bitcoin. The 236 Fibonacci, 0.236, this Fibonacci level generally is not a very how do I say, difficult level to break. Usually the difficult levels to break are 382 and 618. These are mirrors of each other. The other levels are good. 0.5 is good. 236 is usually the weakest level, so I'm not actually too worried about it. That's looking at the more short-term Fibonacci retracement. The other thing I'd like to do is just extend this even further back to the beginning of this uptrend, and you can see right here that we haven't even fully corrected down to the 382 level yet. So potentially, if we're looking at a larger time frame Fibonacci retracement, not doing amazingly, and we are just right now battling that 236 level, which according to this very long-term time frame Fibonacci retracement, this shouldn't be a difficult area to overcome. But you guys already know that from the rest of my analysis, I'm not very optimistic about this. I think that this resistance is actually pretty strong. Bitcoin managed to get a lot of bounces over here for quite a long time, and some strong bounces at that. A bounce that actually set a brand new all-time high in one straight leg. So I can't be too optimistic about this right now. I wish I could, because then everyone would love me, but it's not going to make me money. I got to be true to my own analysis right here, and the fact is there is resistance right here, and it doesn't matter what I want to think about it. It doesn't matter where I think my investments should go. It's resistance, and not only is it horizontal resistance, it's also got Ichimoku resistance on the 4-hour time frame, which is a pretty good time frame for the Ichimoku cloud in my opinion, and it's also got daily EMA resistance. So really there's a lot going against Bitcoin's favor right now. We can see on the larger time frames the daily EMA ribbon has already managed to support Bitcoin just a little bit, which is absolutely great, but there's nothing saying that we can't dip even further down into the support zone and then catch some more support before rising up. So definitely still quite up in the air over there. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. I need to get going. Unfortunately, I did want to cover Ethereum. Let me see if I can take a quick look at it. Ethereum is actually just blasted straight up. You guys will know I've been bragging a lot about how I sold my Ethereum against Bitcoin right here. I put it back into Bitcoin, and Ethereum's just continued rallying up, so I was definitely wrong about that one on these larger time frames, but it's right now at resistance, and honestly I don't know if it's going to be able to keep on rallying up. If Bitcoin suddenly starts rallying up, I think Ethereum is going to get crushed, because Bitcoin has dropped down by quite a bit. It's dropped down by about 20%, and for Bitcoin to recover back up to that all-time high, it needs to rally up by about 24%. So that's a big rally for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin suddenly became super bullish, I think that would put all the attention back on Bitcoin, and that would really be very problematic for Ethereum. Equally, I think if Bitcoin was actually going to find resistance right here and drop lower, that would also be disastrous for Ethereum, because well, people would be scared in the market, and I think that they would not want to be in the risky assets. So we can already see this with other coins like Cardano against Bitcoin. It's just dropped a major support level. This is going to be difficult for Cardano to break again. This is the key thing I've been talking about on this channel for a while, is that if we break these key levels of support, we have to then break them as resistance on the way up, which is actually going to be very difficult for a lot of these coins. But Cardano actually looking like it's in a really good place right now. I think that if it drops a little bit lower down to that $1.50 area, it could turn out to be a really good buy. But I'm actually going to be making a dedicated video just on Cardano, so definitely watch out for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. This is a coin that I love to trade. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but the profit potential on it is so bloody ridiculous that it makes it hard to ignore. So definitely stay tuned for that. Shiba also in a big pump right now. The only thing I want to do on Shiba right here is short it as it approaches resistance zones, and look at how fat this cloud is. This puts the Instagram models to shame. This is a very thick cloud right here, and I think that this could absolutely provide some resistance for Shiba. That's just a little look at the altcoin market. I don't want to talk too much more about it, because I'll make a dedicated video just on that perhaps later today. So again, make sure that you are subscribed so you catch that stuff. If you have enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I am losing track of my words. Links in the description for VIP. Oh, I don't have it anymore. And if you want to sign up to Bybit, then it is linked down below. And when you use my deposit link, I'm sorry, my referral link, you're also going to get up to $3,500 completely free of charge as a reward after you sign up and make your first deposit. So using my link to sign up takes you less than a minute, and then after that, when you make your first deposit, you're going to get up to $3,500 completely free of charge, just as a thank you for using my link. So definitely go check that out. If you want to get Lux Algo, which I showed you guys a few minutes ago in this video, then it is also the link in the description down below, and you're going to get up to 20% off on Lux Algo. That was the wrong link. Here it is. It is not expensive for what you get. Seriously, if you're trading with anything serious, and by serious I mean above a couple $1,000s, this is not a large amount of money to be paying for what they're giving you. It is a lot of content. I'm sorry, it is a lot of resources right here, and it's actually all detailed right here. This is all you get in the premium bundle. And I mean, you're literally getting signals, which, you know, I mean, in a ranging market, when you configure the settings properly or you set it to automatic, it's actually going to be very reliable. This is Bitcoin's price action when it was trading down at 3,000. This is Bitcoin's price action. Actually, I don't remember when this was, but another one that I found very interesting is this is Bitcoin recently when Bitcoin hit 65k for the first time, dropped down to 29k here. You can see that this contrarian indicator has actually been very good in picking out tops in the bull markets and picking out bottoms in the bear markets right here as well, potentially showing you where you know, a mini uptrend could be coming to an end. Look at this, very accurate right here. This one would have failed, but definitely very accurate. So you're getting that for, I mean, this price, which is ridiculous. So definitely check it out if you like getting good deals. And of course, if you want to join Firefly's VIP, it's the first link in the description down below. We are running a big Black Friday sale. Take advantage of it. It's more than 60% off. It's ridiculous. I'll tell you guys more about that in another video. But if you want that discount and you like the idea of watching me be able to trade in real time, get all the reasoning behind everything I'm doing and all that good stuff, then it is the first link in the description down below. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.